So let's go all the way back to June 4, 2003, in which Tracy and David Young defeat Ron Killings by himself in the semi-final of the Asylum Alliance tournament.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we have to talk about this segment.
We have to talk about the Harris brothers. So the Harris brothers,
your favorite topic,
in the sex locker room. And they're like, of course we're not team. I can't even remember if it was Ron or Don who was Ron, or Killing's partner. Probably Don, just for the sake of not having two Rons. So the Harris bros are like, of course we're not going to team with Ron Killings. We're not going to team with his kind.
Mm.
So if you were wondering, are they racist? The answer is yes.
Allegedly.
No, not even alleged. On the show, they're racist. That's the entire point of the angle.
I can't believe they wanted to do this after the controversy of wearing an SS fucking shirt on pay-per-view.
It's the literal story they're telling, that they are too racist to team with Ron Killings.
Well, keep going, because there's more racism in this segment.
And Elix Skipper is like, what do you mean by his kind? They're like, oh, people who use race as an excuse.
No, and then they're like, oh, don't worry, mate. Oh, we don't mean people like you. You worked hard and achieved. Basically doing the whole, you're one of the good ones. Just like a funny side bit here is like, as soon as they start explaining that, fucking Daniel's just like, yeah, okay, man.
Good thing sex is a legal trademark of Vince Russo and the stable's falling apart.
And then they fist bumped.
So then Tracy and David Young defeat Ron Killings in the semi-final. Then later in the show, AMW defeat BG James and Konnan in the semi-final of the Asylum Alliance tournament. So the finals, Liam, of the Asylum Alliance tournament are Tracy and David Young versus America's Most Wanted.
Just exactly what you'd expect.
And you know what? We mentioned this in the watch-along, Liam. But the whole point of the Asylum Alliance tournament was to bring people together and get rid of the issues. And while that didn't happen, it did get rid of nearly all of the stables involved.
Ah. So you know what? I guess the NWA were onto something.
Yeah, it clearly worked, because none of these stables are a thing by the end of the month. So, well done.
And honestly, I'm kind of ready for it.
Where will we go? We'll stick to Killings and Konnan for a moment. Killings and Konnan defeated the Harris Bros, Liam.
Yeah.
And, on commentary, Don is like, you know what? We should get to, no more racial slurs, no more... And then he just pauses. And then Mike Tenay's like, no more what? It's like, just no more racism, Mike.
That should be a quote back just for you know how we do occasionally we'll just chuck one quote in the intro for one episode. We should chuck no more racism, Mike.
I'm not sure if that is exact quote, but if it is, let's throw it in.
Yeah, this is a little one-off.
He's clearly he doesn't even know what to phrase. He's so sick of having to navigate the waters of this stupid racist angle that he's just like, maybe we can stop doing this after this.
Maybe we can stop using the Harris brothers.
So Killings and Konnan defeat the Harris Bros with help from BG James, which forms, in earnest, 3 Live Crew. And the rest of the month they do skits, Liam.
Beware.
Beware in many ways. So on the June 18th show, there's a skit where they're doing a version of the Mike Tenay interview where BG is playing Mike Tenay and he's interviewing Konnan and Ron Killings and he's being super racist. And I'm like, okay.
Sorry, I couldn't tell you about this one.
Liam walked out of the watch-along during this segment.
It's... I want to be very clear.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bit when I say BG James is my least favourite wrestler of all time. I truly don't like anything he does on this show.
If based on the precedent of this podcast, does that mean I now have to like BG James ironically to spite you?
Well, you probably like him because he's racist.
How dare you?
Well, I'm just, there's a correlation here.
But this segment with BG is one of those things where he's like, why do your people like fried chicken, Ron? And Ron's like, what the fuck? And the idea is they're doing a parody of racism in the company in which they just do the racism.
By the guy who does the homophobia.
Yeah. And he does God, it's so bad. It's there was racism in this month of shows. It's not like you've moved past it. You cannot then do a commentary on racism. And Mike Tenay is never racist. Why is the BG James Mike Tenay character racist? When in defense of Mike Tenay, he's one of the lesser racist people on this show.
Maybe this is meant to be a continuation from the Konnan stuff.
Sure.
Where he called Mike Tenay racist.
And then Mike Tenay was like, hey, you leave me out of this.
I don't know.
Then last show of the month, they do an interrogator segment where I guess 2 people are technically playing Don West in this segment, because Konnan and Killings are playing the interviewer role, one of which is technically Don West, and then BG is actually playing Don West, answering the questions as his fake Don West.
I didn't watch this.
You can't skip all of the 3LK skits, Liam.
Watch me.
You cannot be like, I'm just not doing 3LK.
I'm just not doing... You know what? I will acknowledge 3LK when they get the music.
So yeah, they're doing goofs. They're being funny on these shows, Liam. They're funny.
They're not funny.
They have jokes.
Yeah. I can't, man. These guys and like, you know, I like Konnan, and I like Ron Killings. It's just BG. Cause like, I don't know, I feel like if it was just, you know, Konnan and Killings doing this, they would maybe have a point to any of it.
And probably maybe even a slight bit funny.
But also like, it's the worst guy. It's the worst guy doing it. It's the guy that is the most disingenuous about it too, because you don't believe a word that he's saying. Because you think it's just actually him. The first time they did this segment, I didn't realize that it was supposed to be irony. I just assumed it was BG James like saying these things.
Just being racist.
Yeah, because what precedent has there been set to make to suggest that this would have been irony? None, because everything else he's done on the show has been problematic. Because it's either him being racist or him being homophobic. So why would I assume that now it's a fucking irony thing to prove a point? It makes no sense. So, yes, when this first started, I was just like, you could hear me in the watch along. I said, oh man, the old Ron Killings and Konnan of like 3 months ago would beat the shit out of him for this. Because I thought it was genuine. Because I thought it was the character. Because that's all he's ever done on this show.
Yeah, you were very calm, cool, and collected for 12 episodes of this podcast. And now, AJ Styles and 3LK have broken you.
I don't even give 3LK the credit. It's one guy.
This is just BG.
And he's like around for like 2 more years.
Oh, more than that, buddy. BG doesn't leave until the start of 2009.
Oh, just wait till we get to the fucking Alamo.